back to the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. Dave Softy Mahler of Sports Radio 93.3 KJR-FM with us again. And the Seahawks, Dave, they lost to the Titans last night, 19-16. They also lost 3 players to serious injury. I want to get to those guys real quick. Receiver Jake Bobo suffered a knee injury. He's been put on season-ending injured reserve. Offensive lineman Mason Richmond, undisclosed injury, but McDonald called it long-term. And rookie safety Bud Clark, we are all looking forward to seeing him play, broke his ankle on the first play, defensive play of the game. So he is likely out for the season. They're calling it multiple months. I mean, when you look at that game, Softy, just give me your take on some of those injuries and what you feel like coming out of that Seahawks-Titans game.
Yeah, well, it just reinforces the idea that I hate preseason football. Hate preseason football. For those that did not hear it, let me tell you again, I hate preseason football. I cannot stand the idea of playing games that don't matter. It turns my stomach to think that Bud Clark broke his ankle in a game that didn't even matter, right? I mean, if we're going to get guys banged up, then let's go out and at least make it count, for crying out loud, Paul. And you're starting to see what the NFL thinks of these cockamamie preseason games, by the way. They're playing less of them, and nobody of importance is playing in them, right? You saw all the starters on the sideline going through pregame warmups, but then they go back to the locker room. They have themselves a lemonade and take their pads and jerseys off and go back out and goof around. During the broadcast, by the way, on Sunday, they were interviewing players on the field, ignoring 7-8 plays in a row. That's how much they thought of what was going on the field. I saw an interview with Sam Darnold, I think is still going on, by the way. So I am just so sick and tired of this nonsense. It's got to stop. They got to figure out a way to do this better, man. my heart is breaking for Bud Clark. I'm so bummed out for him, and I'm so bummed out for Jake Bobo that these guys got banged up in camp and preseason games and stuff that doesn't even matter. It's a violent sport, guys, and this stuff is going to happen. I get it, but I cannot wait until this week's game against Kansas City so we can start playing these games for real. We put this nonsense behind us.
I do think it's absolutely hilarious you said that about Sam Darnold, because I turned to my wife in the kitchen. I'm like, this is the longest interview I've ever heard before.
I think it's still going on. I mean, and guys, the Leonard Williams conversation, it was ridiculous. I mean, they just they go back to Kenny Albert, and he's like, okay, by the way, the first half just ended. Second half about to begin here in Tennessee. It's like, you got to be kidding me, man. They just could not care less about what was happening out there. So I think, Paul, it does, and Chris, bring up a bigger question, though, of what is going on with the secondary, right? I mean, Bud Clark is now banged up. Nicky Manwari, he was more of a linebacker, obviously, but he's listed as maybe a nickelback for some people's depth charts. Who knows if he's going to be available for week number 1. Reek Woolen's gone. Kobe Bryant's gone. Obviously, we're waiting on the Terrion Arnold situation. Who knows what Trevon Diggs' role will be in week 1 of the season when the Patriot game shows up here in a couple weeks. I think they're looking at what they've got at their secondary right now, and they don't like it. And that's why they're bringing in so many guys for tryouts and so many guys for look-sees. So I think at least early in the year, guys, I'm not scared about, I'm not skeptical. I think they'll be okay, but I'm a little bit curious to see how that secondary plays given their lack of depth they got right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of these preseason games, but if you're going to take anything from it, I know Paul mentioned a loss, but I actually look at it as a win when you think about what happened in the first half, that the second teamers from Seattle, out-impressed in my mind the Titans' first stringers. Drew Lock, 12 of 14, 103 yards and a touchdown. I thought Locke, Arroyo, both looked pretty good out there.
Yeah, the wins and losses don't mean squat to me in the preseason. I mean, guys, I remember when the Seahawks beat Denver in 2013. They came here for a preseason game against the Broncos, and I'm sure one of your crack producers, maybe Joel, can get off his butt and do something and look it up. 2014, they had a preseason game against Denver, and some clown for the Broncos, when Denver won in the preseason, talked about how they got revenge for the Super Bowl loss. I'm like, are you nuts? What are you talking about, revenge? It's a preseason game versus the Super Bowl. What are you, high for crying out loud? So these things are they've got to go, but the Seahawks have got to start developing some depth on that side of the ball, especially in their secondary. I'm looking forward to seeing what this offensive line does when they're together for the very first time. And the running back room, right? The running back room is banged up a little bit right now. So will they have some concerns about their depth, at least early on, at the running back spot as well?
Hey, speaking of that running back room, last week on the show we had Matt Hasselbeck. He's loving HBO Hard Knocks, but he just thought maybe the language was a little too much, especially in the running back room.
Him and Dick Fane didn't like all the F-bombs getting thrown around on Hard Knocks. So that's football, guys. That's two things. That's football, and it's also what the show meetings for this show sound like off the air when Paul and Chris are planning this thing. A lot of toilet talk, as my mom used to call it back in the day. All right, so let's clean it up, boys. You're professionals.
Hey, let's stay with the quarterbacks there with Drew Lock. You know, Chris mentioned his stats. Jalen Milroe, 6 of 11, 52 yards, 2 interceptions. Hey, Mike McDonald wants to see Milroe play, quote, with better players. And I don't blame him. Does Milroe just need more time, or have you seen enough?
I've seen enough to know that he can't throw. I saw that in college, and I'm hoping that with some time, maybe that can develop. But look, I mean, McDonald's excited to see what Jalen Milroe can do with his #1 offensive line in front of him, and maybe some serious threats at running back and wide receiver, and so am I. But there's only 2 ways that will happen. Obviously, either A, he plays alongside Sam, or B, he plays instead of Sam. So what's it going to be, Mike? Are we going to yank the guy that won you a championship off the field for Jalen Milroe? Here's what I envisioned from Jalen Milroe, Paul and Chris, when they drafted him. 4th and inches from your own 38-yard line, and you go for it. And you put Jalen Milroe in the game over the A-gap, right up the center's butt, and you get your free 6 inches, and you continue a drive, and you keep Michael Dixon on the sideline. The problem was in the preseason, he developed a little bit of fumbleitis, and he showed that he could not be trusted to carry the football. So if that's the case, and he's worked some of that stuff out, which if I'm not mistaken, the guy does not have a fumble so far, right, in 2 preseason games. So that's great. Don't think he's been putting the ball on the ground a lot in practice either. I would trust him. I would trust him to take a couple of chances like that, especially with how great this defense is. I'm not saying you're going forward on 4th and inches, guys, from your own 5-yard line, but if it's inside your own 50 and you got a horse like that can come in and get yourself a free first down, that's what I envision the Hawks doing with Jalen Milroe, but I'd like to see that done a couple of times this year.
We'll see what happens with him in the depth chart at quarterback for sure. All right.